Salutations everybody, it is Matty here today, and welcome to the Elder Scrolls 6 Wishlist series, a series designed to help dictate the future of the Elder Scrolls franchise. Every Thursday at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we plant our butts right here on this channel, in this comment section, and talk about how we can push this franchise forward, what needs to stay from previous Bethesda games, where can they take influence from, and so on. Today's topic is going to be essential NPCs and how a lot of us don't really want to see them anymore, but also the other side of the argument on why exactly they're in place, because they have to some extent plagued Bethesda Game Studios games, but they're there for a reason. Why is that? Well, Bethesda Game Studios games are very dynamic. Lots of different things happen at once, where it would really suck if a main quest giver accidentally died and you really lost all that progress for nothing. Essential NPCs are more of a protection than anything, but before we get into any more discussion, let's read the comment that inspired today's topic, which is from Prodigy Gamer. He says, in a very impassioned comment, mind you, lots of capitals, lots of exclamation points, no more essential characters. It ruins immersion. If it is necessary, then just include it as a setting. And if you want it off, if an important character dies, then a pop-up can come up if you want to revive them. If you say no enough times, then it'll stop popping up entirely. And if I kill an essential character, example given would be Maven Blackbriar, then I want people to talk about it, such as, thank the gods Maven died, maybe Riften can improve, or great Maven died, now I lose my top investor, or I cannot believe my mother is dead, her death was too soon. And if someone died and someone who hated them saw, they might say, thanks for killing Sven, maybe Camilla will finally love me. If you killed Sven in front of Faendal, oh yeah, and killable kids. Real passion here, but nonetheless, I see where he's coming from. But also, Quiche Def Tachanka Gaming makes a good point, because Prodigy says, hey man, it ruins immersion, but I think I'm more on lines with Tachanka here, where he says it isn't even immersion for me. Sometimes I want to clear out Diamond City or kill an especially annoying kid, and that is something I totally agree with. It's not sometimes about the immersion, how we can push the narrative forward, improves in gameplay. Sometimes I just want to save my game, take out my favorite gun or my favorite weapon in general, and just destroy an entire town, then load my game up just to get some anger out, because for example, if you bump into a Marcy or a Junelong, it was way too long for that patch to arrive that made them no longer essential, where it felt so satisfying to take them out. So I really think that this is something that Bethesda should consider, but like I was mentioning earlier, their worlds are very dynamic. Imagine if a settlement of yours in Fallout 4 was raided where Preston Garvey was. Now he dies and you can't progress in the main story of Fallout 4 anymore because you need him to get to the ending. Get what I'm saying? Yeah, it would be interesting if you kill him afterwards and it really wouldn't matter, would it? But still, you need him to get to one of the endings, which means that, well, Bethesda really doesn't want that. And I think they should put some responsibility on the players, but I think it's also preventing, which would cause more anger for gamers, is if something bad happened in your game, someone just fell to their death, or like I said, a settlement got raided and one of your characters died. It would really be more infuriating that I couldn't kill someone because Bethesda made them essential, rather than having them die and losing a lot of progress over that. But I also understand why exactly people want essential NPCs. I think a lot of it is tied to the past. We look at Fallout 1 and Fallout 2 as some prime examples of non-essential characters in game, but I think a more modernized example of that would be Dark Souls, how you can actually kill whoever you want, and there's actually a reward behind it where you can get exciting loot from these characters that you kill, even though they are essential to a story, but it doesn't really halt your progression. Now, mind you, there's a stark difference between Dark Souls and Fallout and Elder Scrolls. But in the terms of essential characters, I like the way that Dark Souls handles it, where if you accidentally hit RB, you slash a really important story character. It's not like some of the earlier Souls games where they'll come right at you immediately and try to kill you. Instead, they will give you a few hits before they actually attack back. Sometimes you have to take out a ton of their health before they actually attack back, and that's something I appreciate. Now, mind you, Dark Souls isn't a game that you can necessarily reload your save. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna save my game, then hit them, reload my save, it'll be all fine. No, like once you hit them, once they attack you, if you quit and try to load your game in, you're screwed. So that's the difference there as well, is that once you make that action, they know that you're gonna be punished. So I think it puts an interesting dynamic into the game. So when we step back and take a look at the bigger picture, we do see a lot of pros for no more essential NPCs, such as you can kill someone to finish off a quest. For example, you have to decide between helping out two people. You kill one of them, boom, the quest is done because you're going to go help out that other guy. Also, the killing sprees, the immersion factor for some gamers, I think it couples into why a lot of gamers want to see no more essential NPCs. But also, I feel we do have to take a very honest look at why there are essential NPCs and how beneficial that is to the game, because overall, like I said, a lot of things can happen at once and you don't know who's going to end up dying, and it would really suck to lose all your main story progress if just someone dropped dead because the game decided to do something that's exciting in the dynamic nature, but you paid the consequence for it. I think you should be punishable for your own actions in game, but when the game does it to you, then I think that's a little bit unfair because, well, it's out of your hands. Also, we have to keep in mind, for example, with Fallout 4 is that settlements get attacked when you're away anyways, so that means that people can die without you really being there to do anything about it. So you see, there's a lot going into this where there's a good argument for both sides. At the end of the day, I think the essential way, yes, that's a pun, to fix this is really to have a setting there. Just have a setting under gameplay, which is essential NPCs, off or on. You turn them off, you can kill whoever you need to, anyone can die because you're doing it at your own risk at that point. Bethesda has it on by default, but once you turn it off, that's on you, right? Because you have control on whether or not someone's going to die. If you think that something bad's going to happen, you turn it back on. I think that would be a good way to balance things out. I've mentioned this before, how Bethesda really needs to work on their difficulty in game and just make it a lot more customizable. Customizable difficulties seem to be making a return in a lot of games nowadays, Dishonored 2 being an example that comes straight to mind, and I think that Bethesda games would really benefit from having a lot of options that you could turn off and on, especially in a survival mode, for example. But yeah, I really think that essential NPCs can be beneficial to some gamers, but it might really hinder some other experiences for gamers, so I feel like at the end of the day, this just boils down to a setting Bethesda could put into the game, if anything. One other thing I want to add in is that Bethesda does need to learn to trust their players. This comes in hand with the Fallout 4 story and how you could just see everything in one playthrough. A lot of the rare weapons and armors are all accessible in one playthrough. A lot of Bethesda game studios recently have been created off that one playthrough because they don't really trust their players to come back again, because they don't really give them much reason to in a Skyrim or a Fallout 4 where you can really see all you need to aside from a few threads through one playthrough. And I think it's important that maybe they put trust in the players' hands again with, for example, stuff like the essential NPCs, and along with the gameplay and story choices which we've gotten into in previous episodes. I think that type of stuff is really important, and along with this, where yeah, we need to just trust the player that they're going to make their own mistakes. Just let the game play out in front of them. Don't try to control that experience, which Bethesda doesn't try to do all too often. But let's be honest, with things that we've seen in the past, I think it's worth just mentioning and putting it out there. But nonetheless, that'll conclude this wish list episode, and I've been really enjoying this series. I'm glad you guys are still full on supporting it because, well, we have a long wait. When you look at some of the Elder Scrolls 6 news that's popped out, and especially Pete Hines' comments in interviews, I mean, we're going to be chilling here for a long while. So best get to commenting, and when this game is eventually officially announced, I think it's going to be a really interesting discussion because we might have to regurgitate some things perhaps because so many people are going to be coming in to that new hype that we've been there for a while. So nonetheless, I hope you guys do enjoy this video. Be sure to leave your feedback in the comments down below so that I can discuss with you. Bethesda can maybe check it out if they stroll on by this video, who knows. But anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts to dictate what the next episode will be. Follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook. The links are as always in the description down below. Check out TriggerBomb.com, the place by Bethesda fans for Bethesda fans. Stay sexy, stay active. I love you all. Peace.